For full episodes as they air, listen to Rants Hollywood Talk on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and blogtalkradio.com/GrantsRants. Hey listeners, if you're in the LA area on June 30th, come on over to Rants Hollywood Talk live podcast, Keeping It 100. There's a free champagne bar. What more do you want? A full show with former co-hosts coming in and out. It's going to be a fantastic show. I encourage you to check it out. It's a small donation over on eventbrite.com. That link is in the description beneath this video. I hope you'll check it out and celebrate with me on June 30th here in LA, Rants Hollywood Talk, Keeping It 100, our first live show.
Broadcasting from Hollywood, California, it's Rants Hollywood Talk.
Which Atlanta housewife can be found at the dollar store? Kathy Griffin is still standing. Dina Lohan's home is foreclosed on, and learn more about the exhibit highlighting reality TV icon Tiffany New York Pollard. That and my trip to Luann's Cabaret show right here. Let the ranting begin. I am joined by Matt and Viviana of the THNK 1994 Museum, the curators of that museum and the exhibits. They're here on the line. Thank you for joining me from New York.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this episode, so it's going to be fun. We both love pop culture, the Housewives, and I feel like your museum is like almost like the museum version of Grant's Rants. Like it's just the stuff that you cover, the way it's presented. I love it.
Oh, well, thank you so much. That's a compliment. Yeah, we just kind of like to do shows about things that we're obsessed with and can't stop talking about. And it's been really great connecting with other artists and people who want to get involved with that and really kind of build a community around it.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a certain type of person that's like really into all of like this pop culture commentary, and they're always a little crazy, but they're always a good time. So I love it.
I think that's a good way of saying it.
Yeah. So I connected with you guys, for those listening, connected over this exhibit. Now, everyone that listens to the show knows that I worship the feet of Tiffany New York Pollard. And when I saw this article come through from VH1.com, David's Dead, Thank You Big Brother, the exhibit, happening at THNK 1994 Museum, I reached out to you within 4 minutes of reading the full article.
Yeah, we're very excited. That's going to be a great exhibit where we just finished the one we have up because we had 3 in the spring. So we just finished Celebrity Smoking in the Bathroom at the Met Gala. And then tomorrow night or Monday is going to be the Met Gala itself, this year's one. So this one is now ended. And then we have 2 weeks and we're going to set up for the show for Tiffany Pollard. And it is coming together so nicely.
The art's coming in. It's so cool. So many people are flying in to see it. Tiffany Pollard has such hardcore loving fans.
As she should.
And
Icon.
We are so excited to build a little space and time where it's dedicated to, we have to talk about how much we love Tiffany Pollard. That's how we got started with our first museum. We just wanted to create a space where we all had to talk about Tanya and Nancy when you were there. And so we were very excited to do that with Tiffany.
Wow, it's perfect. Like it's like the perfect thing for me. I can't believe that exists, and it's so well deserved. She's been in this reality TV game forever, and she's still making iconic moments happen, and that's not an easy thing to do.
What was the first show you saw her on? Was it Flavor of Love?
Oh, Flavor of Love, yeah. And yeah. I can recite the I can recite those scenes with her. I mean, just the one-liners and the gifts that live today, and just. You know, it's a special person that makes such an impact in my life. So I must give her the credit where it's due. So
yeah, she does. She's had especially when she did New York Goes to Hollywood. I was like, what is this? It was the best show I remember watching. And then I just rewatched it, and it's like, this is a great show. It holds up. It's insane. They should just have every television season. It should just be New York does blank, and then that's it.
We'll watch it.
Yes, I agree. I'm here for it. Let's talk about some topics, some Hollywood talk. I'm never here for Nene Leakes. There's a Page 6 article where she reveals her secret to staying rich is shopping at the dollar store. I mean, I do that, but I'm also not on a season 10 reality show with like a huge
I think
paycheck.
that is just very smart because what she said in that article was that she, for people who haven't read it, she buys like wine glasses from there. And it's like, I mean, yeah, they're going to get broken anyways. And that's just smart. That's how rich people stay rich. I love Nene. I love her origin. I love her transformation. She just like totally transforms. She gets her divorce, but then she like gets back with him and she just is totally in charge. And yeah, she can totally shop at the dollar store and make it like just very, very fashion. So I love it.
I mean, she claims that guests at her parties eat off dollar store plates. Invest a little bit when you entertain. I expect a certain level of that from people of her means.
I do feel like if you look at like Beverly Hills, like with Dorit, right? And she like bought that like $90,000 like china for her guests, right?
Yeah.
When it comes, but if you like, I just read so many topics of like people who've like, in like Facebook groups of like, oh, she really, the rumors is like that she really doesn't have as much money as she says she does. And like, she probably was just like, and she just probably did for the show, So I think it's like
I agree.
two like extremes, Nene owns those plates outright.
Well, 99 cents worth. Good for her. Matt, how do you feel about Nene?
I love Nene. I mean, Nene, I feel is at this point she just came back to Housewives of Atlanta, but I feel like I had just gotten used to her not being on the show, so it's taken like an adjustment period for her, like me, to just kind of be like, oh, okay, Nene's back. I mean, it wasn't that long, but I do believe like what she's saying. I feel like we at this museum we go to the dollar store for every exhibit.
Yeah.
So we have like a clock here that we got that's like a cat clock for $2. We make a lot of our budget choices on things that are available to us at the dollar store, but we do try and make it look as nice as possible.
And honestly, it's not just that it costs like $1 to $5. It's like you're going to find things there that you will not find anywhere else. There's this great like dollar hardware store by us, and they have this amazing piece of art that is a picture of a man in a Corvette, and it lights up. And I swear, I just want to buy it for everybody I know because it's so good. But like the clock cat, you're going to find really interesting things there. And I think that's what Nene's probably saying.
And she's still getting into like, she's filling up because she just got this house like not too long ago. I remember when she was on The View and then she was showing photos of her house. And then she got mad because Joy Behar asked, well, where's all the furniture?
Yes.
And she was like, well, I just moved in. And it was like both had very good points to their arguments, I feel. So it was like one of those moments on The View where it was hard to choose a side. Both are so good. They're as if they were lawyers.
I don't know. For me, when it comes to Nene, her thing is that she's supposed to be very rich. She's in everyone's face. She's talking about all of her projects. So that's why I get like this with her, because she's not humble. So for me now to hear her talk about the dollar store, I'm like, okay, that's relatable to a lot of folks like us. But like, you're in everyone's face talking about how much money you make and all these jobs, like cashing Trump checks, all these obnoxious things she said in the past. And wasn't that the show she quit? Like, for me, I don't really know how I feel about her with this 99 cent store thing. It's not a good look for her if she's walking around talking about how much money she has. That's my view.
What could be happening is that they're maybe not like pointing this out, but remember that episode of Real Housewives of New York where Dorinda was so mad because where she said Ramona had taken down a light or moved a light and she had like damaged the property. And then in the reunion, you found out it was like, no, that happens like all the time. Because somebody from OC, I think it was Tamra, reached out to Ramona and was like, oh, no, it's the production crew that does it all the time. She's like, well, you know what? I'm going to put the dollar store glassware, stemware out when they're filming in case anybody breaks it or tries to, break glass or whatever. And then she has like a backup. So maybe they were, you know what? I'm going to blame the reporter.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we got to spin.
Yeah.
Let's change gears to Kathy Griffin. It's been 1 year since the photo of the severed head, the $5 mask that will just never disappear from her life ever again. She went on Wendy Williams, and she went on everyone, really, every talk show in New York this last week. And she talked about how she's back on there. And I've said this from the beginning. Of course, the minute she makes money, she'll be back doing the circuit, writing a book, doing all her. She's not writing a book currently, but that we know of. But I knew that she'd be back represented in all this business. The minute you make money for someone in this business, it's on.
Yeah, I'm happy she's back. I mean, like, it was that if it was like, especially that was one of those things when we watched it, was like, is everyone crazy? Everyone must be crazy if everyone's really taking this like very seriously.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like they did. And then I mean, I guess that was what, a year ago, or was it more?
1 year ago this month.
1 year ago this month. Okay. Yeah,
I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And it's just like, I do get why it was problematic because maybe, but it's like her job as a comedian to like do those things and to like push those boundaries. And
it was insane. It was so unproblematic. I actually feel, I mean, it was like literally, and then the weird thing to me, what was weirder than the photo was when all of her, like, whatever, friends, like she was talking about Anderson Cooper on how he like didn't call her, didn't defend her. But his tweet was so weird. He was like, just for the record, I don't condone cutting people's heads off. It's like, well, nobody thought you did.
Yeah, and she didn't do it either. It's not like she did it.
It was such a weird energy everyone was like putting, and all those tweets were the craziest thing I ever seen in my fucking life. It was like nobody thinks that this, you're like making this such a real thing when it's not. So
look, when I saw that picture, before I was influenced on how to think either way, before the bitches on The View told me how to think about it, or before they talked about it on MSNBC, I looked at it and said, well, that's Kathy though. I'm not behind it because I think it's kind of like odd, but that's Kathy. And I just kept scrolling. Like, it didn't catch me like, oh my God, this is so offensive. Like, that's what she does, for good or for bad or for in between.
Yeah, I don't think if people hadn't have been like, if I'd have seen it somewhere without people being like, this is going to change the world, or like, this is a huge deal.
This is going to ruin,
like, oh, okay.
I really would have never guessed this would destroy her career, like, in the way that it did. Like, it's just,
yeah.
And not,
he was probably the most shocked.
I think yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I feel, and everything she said about like everything that happened after, I mean, I can't imagine. I'm sure you'd like probably like, it's like insane when you like people like her, I feel like are very honest. I guess in that like world, I feel like it's always a surprise when they don't lose their mind, you know, if they're somebody who's like naturally inclined to tell the truth at all times, which I do think she does for the most part. I mean, it's like it's just, it must be like insane. That's why I love that 17-minute video she put out like in October of last year.
We watched it live.
Yeah,
so
when she just
right away
uploaded it to YouTube. I don't even know if it's still on, but it was that one where she was like talking about all those. When you mentioned the thing about Andy Cohen.
Oh, I watched that too. I watched that within like the first 22 minutes of it being released. Yeah. It just popped up, and I was like, oh, I stopped everything for that.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was like a little bit. She was like, I think she tweeted like, I'm about to spill the tea or whatever, and it was like, okay, it was like fine, but like it wasn't like anything that shocking that she said, but it was still like fun to watch.
Yeah, that was where she gave the phone number out for Harvey, and you know it's about damn time someone calls him out. So, yeah, I was fine with that.
It's trash. He really needs that website is bad and should go away.
I agree, and I refuse to use TMZ as a source for this show. As far as like finding topics, look, some weeks are slower than others. I love Page 6, but sometimes there's not enough to talk about, and I will go out of my way to not use TMZ as a source, unless if they're sourced in an article on Page 6. Then, you know, I got to credit them, but I will not support them myself.
That is fantastic.
That's good, yeah. Because also the whole thing is they were the ones to publish that photo in the first place. They were the ones to make it like such a big deal. And then that guy, Harvey Levin, is such a bad guy.
Yeah, we do a lot of work with the blogger Pop Culture died in 2009, and he'll do talks here and stuff. And just hearing him like really go through like everybody that Harvey like supports and
all
like
the lawyers that he has connections to who represent awful people.
It goes so deep, and it's like, oh my God, how do we stop him?
Yeah. I mean, let people not forget that he's tight with Trump too, and there's an agenda there. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then the guy that Matt who runs Pop Culture died in 2009. He was like talking about how like that his vision is like to turn TMZ into like a CNN level 24-hour news source. So then it's always in his best interest if like, you know, all these people are in the news. Anyway, yeah, it's all. I don't like him.
I follow Pop Culture died in 2009 on Instagram religiously, so it's interesting that he's
one of the greatest minds of our generation.
Absolutely,
I need to connect with him. Yeah, because we're on the same page. I like that guy. You know, I've been covering this story for a long time, Lindsay Lohan's mother, Dina, who I worship and love, the house is in foreclosure again. And I remember talking about this when this show started. And, well, actually, way before. So it happened a couple times. But in 2013, it was up. Lindsay apparently gave $40,000. The same house scene on one of my all-time favorite reality shows, Living Lohan. The Long Island mansion, foreclosed. It's got 90 days. How do you feel about this foreclosure?
Oh, devastated. That house has such a history.
Should be a historical landmark at TBH.
And
yeah, absolutely. The government should step in.
this is exactly why you guys are on this show. I totally agree. Oprah made a pilgrimage to this house.
Yeah.
Cody
Remember, did you watch the live show, the Living Lohan? Did you watch?
Yeah.
I watched it too many times to count when Lindsay made that one phone call and they like teased it for like 9 weeks.
Whole season. And then the Carvel, the Carvel nearby that house, she was Lindsay Lohan was gifted by Carvel a black card, which was like their version of like the Amex Bet black card, but it just meant you could get free Carvel for life because of your achievements and your status. Mm-hmm. And then Lindsay was like, I don't really want this, so she gave it to her mom. And her mom, I mean, if you live in Long Island in the summer, like that's like an almost an every night thing. You just go pick up some Carvel, and so her mom was using it, and then they eventually were like, no, we're cutting you off because you're abusing this privilege. And she called the police when that happened. So the police,
as she should have.
Absolutely. You don't give somebody a black card.
Yeah, and then take it away. That's insane.
Dina, it's time to start paying some bills, though. I mean, this is a bad look.
Well,
this
she's
house
signed up for her cameo. She's working,
Yeah.
And so I think it's all really on us to get a cameo from her.
Cameos for
Cameos for Dina.
No, she's lived in this house forever. Lindsay apparently grew up in her younger years in this house, yet she owes over $1.4 million. Now, I wouldn't classify this as a mansion. What does she do? Take out a loan on the house or something? What is all this?
Yeah, if you have a house, how do you not take out a couple mortgages? That's what it's there for,
I guess so.
I mean, she's being a smart businesswoman in a not smart sense,
No.
She's doing what she can, day by day,
And
one step at a time.
This article over on page 6, at the end, it said that Dina was a no-show at the court date. Not even that could she be bothered with. Maybe she's outside Carvel. Wait, I mean, what is she doing?
Well, good for her for being in page 6.
She should open a Carvel franchise.
Yeah, she should.
Oh, I would go to it all the time.
I honestly, she's one of my OG original, like, just captivated by Dina and her antics and, like, the way that she placed herself in not the Freaky Friday. What was that movie? The other one, The Parent Trap, as, like, an extra laying out by the pool in a bikini. Like, I just love her antics. Like, she's an OG fave.
Yeah, I mean, she's great. And then any photo of her and Lindsay out, like, on the town, those are all great photos. I mean, she's, I mean, what I feel like it's like, what would I do? I'd probably be, like, kind of trying to do maybe a little bit of the same thing. I mean, like...
Yeah, you want to be around. You want to be present,
Yeah.
And you're young and beautiful, too. You want to party as well.
And that infamous photo of her with the Mother of the Year plaque, like 2006. Do you remember that?
Oh, wait, no, I don't think I've seen this.
She's standing there in a dress holding a plaque that says Mother of the Year that she was awarded. Yes. And this was like the heyday. This was like back in the day when like she was going off like the rails and in the SUV with Britney in Paris. Like that was that time period. So truly iconic.
What a time to go through. She definitely shouldn't have to. She should just get a pass.
Yeah.
She should
for
what she's done for us.
Thank you. Grants Rants podcast co-signs that movement.
Yeah, because what did the article say? Like J.P. Morgan sued her? Like, I mean, J.P.
They
Morgan.
Don't need another house.
Cover it.
No, I know. Cover it.
Sonya's got to get on the phone and make a few phone calls.
Yeah.
And help her out.
So now Tyra Banks is over on that sad Steve Harvey show, and she's talking about how Lindsay is going to be in Life Size 2 on Freeform.
Yeah.
So, okay, I didn't realize this was a made-for-TV movie initially, but I said, okay, all right, it's the start for our girl. Okay, like, Let's do it. So I hope that she's really in it. We can expect it to be a, quote, fun, edgy, and modern Christmas movie, whatever that means.
Christmas fabulous. Oh, that's fabulous.
Edgy, too. That's
Yeah. How would it not be edgy?
No.
Exactly.
I mean, Tyra Banks invented branding, as far as I'm concerned. So she's always on the cutting edge. Lindsay's so edgy right now. So I think it's going to be, a fun-filled romp. I will watch it the night it airs.
Yeah, I think I'll support it too. I'm there to support Lindsay. I'm waiting for that comeback, and I don't think it's going to happen immediately, but I think when she gets 40 plus, I think she's going to pull it off. I'm hoping.
I can't wait to see her 40 plus. That means I'll be closer to 40, so not too excited, but I can wait. But she was recently out here in Brooklyn, and she was doing a club appearance. And we were like, the tickets were like, the best tickets were like $100 or something, and we ended up not doing it. It was like, we didn't really like have the cash. And then we're like, oh, she probably won't even show up anyways. And then there was an article the next day that's like, Lindsay Lohan came early, took pictures with everyone, and stayed late. And it was like, oh my God, we really should have gone.
Yeah, I'm really messed up.
I know. That's how
She's working it.
Well, good for her for doing it. She's improving her image one club appearance at a time. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for that movie. Anything that I can support her in, I'm there for. Last night I threw my support behind the Countess. Countess Luann was here in LA for a one night only show. She did two shows, one at 8, which started at 8:30, and then another at 10:30. I went to the 8:30 show. Look, these tickets were $80, and then there was a 2-drink minimum, so it was a $100 night. I can't promise that it was worth $100. I mean, it was more than I wanted to spend. But hey, she looked amazing. I could have dealt with maybe 3 less costume changes because she would disappear for like 10 minutes. She just disappeared for 10 minutes, and then we had like these people from the People's Couch come up and talk, and I can live without that. Jenny sang the Watch What Happens Live theme song. I can live without that. But I'm glad that I went over all. But I don't know. Have you heard any reviews from the show?
We haven't. I mean, I've seen like Instagram stories, and when we saw she was doing it, we were like, oh my God, we got to go. And then we had just seen a show at where she was doing it here, 54 Below, and realized that they had this like 2-drink minimum, and that they're like,
and they were like $25 drinks.
Yeah, the minimum. Yeah, and it was insane. So then we were like, okay, I don't think that's going to be happening for us. And then we watch like Instagram stories, and that's mainly like are the reviews. But when
out here, Sonia was there.
Yeah,
we had like the cameos. Sonia lost her dress at one time.
Oh, I love
it was
that.
Probably way more worth it in New York.
I didn't realize that Lou was going to be on the stage as little as she was. She had some great performers in between. Cheyenne Jackson performed. He did a good song. This other Broadway star. I can't remember her name. She was an older, mature woman, but she like brought down the house. Like, fantastic people. And of course, Luann had a lot of fun with her stints in rehab and prison. And, she didn't once utter the word Tom, which I was a little surprised by, but there were plenty of audience members shouting out his name. So he lived on.
Oh my God.
Yes, he lived on.
Oh, wow.
But it was overall good, but I'm telling you, like, not a $100 night. I have more like 50. But, that was my experience. By the way, I will say we get there. It's a weird marquee of like from like the 90s where it just kind of rotates and like it's like flashes, almost like a construction sign, like, like tunnels closed or whatever. And so so it just had her name, like Countess Luann and Friends, just like blinking. And then there's all these signs like go behind this building, go in here. So you had to enter through a parking garage, and then you had to enter down like a staircase, like a metal staircase in a parking garage. And then there's like, you walk down like this little hallway, and then it's like this outdoor area. And then you walk through this outdoor area, and then there's like a little door, and that's where this venue was. So it was very appropriate in a way where it like wasn't too high class. You know what I mean? Like it was a little like, what is this? And then when you go in,
a little speakeasy, like a sexy little like discovery.
Yeah, but also a little low end. It's like, I mean, I'm having I'm having a live show for Grant's Rants. I don't mean to be bougie, but like, no one has to enter through a parking garage to come to the theater. But I'm
also realizing $80 for that ticket. When we saw Britney in Vegas, we spent $89 for our tickets because we got the cheap ones. And I mean, Britney should be more.
Oh,
way more.
I agree. You'll never find a bigger Britney defender than me. And yeah, I know I paid for those tickets once myself, and that was what I could afford at the time, but it was worth every penny.
Oh my God, yeah.
As for Luann, though, the show was well produced. She looked amazing. You can tell that they put a lot of work into it. And, everyone had a really great time. I mean, everyone was on their feet. Yeah. And I noted, I gave a full look of that room. Not one OC or Beverly Hills housewife, at least to the show that I went to, was there to support her.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, wait, because they're all friends with Bethany if they're friends with anybody from like that cast, I guess.
Yeah. So
that's disappointing. We're disappointed in you.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little disappointed in Beverly Hills. A lot disappointed in Beverly Hills. Let's take a minute and take a look at who it's kind of like who should win, who will win, who should be on next season, but who really will be. Do you have any predictions?
This is maybe more of like a hope than a prediction, but I hope that enough time has gone by that they for whatever reason that she wasn't on the show, because I can only imagine that the Kim Richards would not be on the show for like some sort of legal reason or whatever, because she had gone through what she had gone through and they needed like a break a little bit of time before she came back on. But I hope that they in some way, shape or form bring her back on, even for like a friend of the housewife or something, because I kind of feel like unless some major change happens, this show is it's slightly built around her, I think. I don't think you can really – the show just fails without her, in my opinion. I love Lisa Vanderpump, but I don't think that the show is able to ride on Lisa Vanderpump. I think it rides on Kim Richards, and I think that's why this season was so what's going on here? I mean, I know it was like also like you had new cast members, but I just think they got to get Kim involved in some way, even if she's in the background, and they could just talk about her.
Matt, I agree. I need Kim Richards at least as a friend of, at least minimum. What were you about to say? So sorry.
Celebrity Big Brother has proved to everyone that Brandy's ready to come back.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
She was that show.
Please pay Brandy whatever she's requesting to put her on that show. Yes. Please.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's in my opinion, it's in a desperate state. I can't stomach Lisa Vanderpump. I really haven't enjoyed her in so long. And, she doesn't play the game. She's getting paid way too much just to roll up and literally roll out. Like, I can't with that. That was so lazy. And Teddy is a complete miscast for me. She's unhappy on that show. I don't enjoy her.
Teddy was born to be on TV,
She's one of those. Absolutely. And not everybody is. You're right.
And that's fine. She's a great girl. But she's not a personality.
Yeah.
Was this the season with the LA Awareness Festival?
Yeah.
For the dogs?
Dark.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is there really an LA Awareness Festival? That's such a fun name.
I mean, it's not up there where, like, I know who's performing at the Hollywood Bowl. I know when LA Pride is. I know when they have a marathon. Like, that's like more mainstream than like this LA Awareness, but
it's not like somebody be like, oh my God, traffic, LA Awareness Festival.
Yeah. So no, it's not on like my calendar or anything. But so who do I want? I want to keep Kyle. Why not? I can handle Kyle. You got to keep Rinna, even if she's just going to phone it in. You got to keep Dorit, just, because I'm not done with her yet. And you need Brandy. For friends of, you got to make Erica a friend of at this point. I know it's an unpopular decision, but what more is there to tell?
No, I know. But okay. I respect your opinion.
It's fine. No, if you disagree, tell me why. I love it. I don't care.
Why Erica?
Oh, she's just so fun to watch. Everything's shiny and wonderful, and it's like you do watch. There is still the part of us that just watches the show just to see like the nice outfits and like you're jumping on a plane somewhere, and she dresses for the occasion. She was sick. She got an all vinyl, it's like, and her like confessional looks are fabulous. And just like that kind of aspirational, amazing, like Barbie doll thing, it's like, it's the candy we need.
Yeah, I'd miss her if she went, but as far as like being a contract housewife, I don't know what more we can get from her other than, I guess, like the image look.
I think for one more season, I will say this season, I think there was like a little bit of a lot of marketing. I felt too much maybe, but that's maybe like an editing thing. But there was just a lot of like almost every time she was on, it was like, okay, but this is for the book.
Right.
And then
what is she selling?
For this other thing.
Yeah. Here's the thing. We're not going to see anything with her son. We've seen her with a little bit that Tom will give us. We've seen her with Tom. We've seen her perform. We've seen her do the book. We've seen her travel. We've seen her relationship with her mother. What's next? The same thing can be said for Vanderpump. But that's why I'm calling for her head. So I don't want to get rid of her. But as far as friends go too, if we can make Erica full-time or a friend, I'll accept.
I'd take her as a friend. I would take her as a friend.
All right, yeah. And Camille, I got to accept as a friend. And I love Camille. I have a picture of her in my house. But look, she's got to bring the show needs big personalities and someone who's really going to be there full-time with it. And just if we can have season 1 Camille, sure. But I think the Camille we're getting is enough for a friend. And then you got to put Kim in there in some degree. Just pay Kim and Brandy what they want.
Oh my God, yeah, Kim and Brandy on would be so great because they didn't even get like a real chance. I don't even feel for their like alliance to kind of like become something. I think, or their friendship, because it was sort of like right at the tail end of Kim being on the show in a real way was when they got really close with each other, and then that was also like kind of the beginning of like a rough time for Kim.
Yeah. Well, my gold standard casting, if they could ever make it happen, would be to bring on Kathy Hilton, because I think that is the real story right there. So,
oh my God! If you had 3 Hiltons on that show, that would be insane.
Yeah.
So you find out what really happened with like what's that show, American Mom?
Yeah.
American Woman. Yeah. Which has been in production since like Bush was in office. But come on. But I've always loved Kathy. Remember that show on NBC, I Want to Be a Hilton? It was a summer reality show.
No way. Why are they on so many? Because we just found out that there was a diving competition show that Kim Richards was on.
Yeah.
How do they have so many little known reality shows? I never saw I Want to Be a Hilton. Oh my God.
It was a 1-season wonder, but it was great. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk more with Matt and Viviana. We're going to talk all about THNK 1994, and we're going to get into more about their exhibits, their favorite ones in the past, and what's coming up. A lot of good stuff. Hang out. We'll be back in a moment.
You're listening to Grant's Rants. Subscribe and spread the word. There are a lot more rants to come. Listen anytime on all major podcasting platforms. And now, back to the show.
And we're back talking with Matt and Viviana from THNK 1994, the museum. And let's talk all about it. I want to hear about this celebration of pop culture, the origin of the museum. I've watched the videos of the apartment and the hall, the entrance hallway. Tell me all about it.
Yeah, we were roommates, and we had just moved to this apartment. It had a 25-foot long hallway, and we kind of didn't know what to do with it. But together we watched the documentary 30 for 30, The Price of Gold by Nanette Burstein, and we just got so obsessed with the Tanya Nancy saga, and we kind of couldn't shut up about it. And then we realized that nobody else had also just watched it. So it was kind of a 4 a.m. idea, but we're like, let's turn the hallway in our apartment to the Tanya Nancy Museum. And we kind of put that online, half as a joke. But people kind of really responded to it and like wanted to make art and give us artifacts. That's how we met Lois Elfman, who gave us like so many artifacts from her time. And so then like that kind of just became a thing. We ran that for 2 years out of our apartment, and from there we met like a lot of artists. One of them being Laura Collins, and she had been working on a series called The Olsen Twins Hiding from the Paparazzi, and we were like, oh my God, this is so good. This belongs to a museum. And we were like, oh wait, we have a museum. So we like did like a pop-up for that. And it was so fun. And that's kind of when like our mission kind of came more into focus. We like to do shows about really confident women who are like often like kind of torn down in the media, and just kind of celebrate them as hard as we can.
Where does the name come from?
THNK, Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan.
Okay.
And then 1994, that's the year that kind of everything happened with, the Olympics and the attack before the Olympics. So that was like, we don't sell anything from that permanent collection, which is what we call it, which is everything that has to do with all the artifacts we were given, everything we like found and hunted down, and original pieces that were made and things we made. That is like not for sale. And so that's kind of like our umbrella is just like that name. But we do these rotating exhibits about other topics that in some cases have nothing really to do with it, but like are just similar in the theme and like the reason we're kind of talking about it.
Right. Well, yeah, it's like the origin of what built this out. Yeah. I love that I love that it started, like you mentioned, like as almost as a joke and really turned into what it is. Like that's the dream. You know what I mean? Like I love that.
Yeah, it's absolutely. And we had full-time jobs when we started it, and then we switched to part-time because we were doing like the pop-ups, and then and now we're full-time museum curators. We run like museum with a lowercase m. I mean, they're kind of like gallery shows essentially, but also museum.
Yeah.
Of course. Lois, you mentioned Lois Elfman. Honest to God, like one of the most loyal listeners and just supporters of mine. And, I met her once in New York by her place. And, I just enjoy her so much. And she, loves you guys. And I think it's so funny that a listener of the show was like helpful in launching this exhibit for you guys. It's such a small world.
Oh my God. Yeah. She was like, the first person who reached out was like, okay, if I, because she's a figure skating journalist. And she's like, if you're going to do this, you're going to do it right. And you're going to come meet me. And she was like the first kind of stranger from the internet we met. We ended up meeting so many. We went and had like lunch by her house, and she was just so fun. We had so much fun with her, and she gave us so many amazing things. And like every time we like, cause we really loved the story, but we like also, we aren't experts in figure skating. So we were kind of like touching the figure skating world. And so every time we have a question about anything, we just like email her. She just is like, she's the best resource. So we love her.
Yeah, me too.
We have this series by Laura Collins called Runway Models Falling. You can see that on our Instagram, THNK1994. But it was so fun because we built the whole space out like a bathroom. We got these like tiles from the 99-cent store. And we got like some candy cigarettes. And yeah, it's total blast.
I love that. What's your process of putting together these exhibits? Like, obviously it was both very creative. How do you work together and how do you go about executing these?
Usually we just try and like, if we're doing like a group show, we're going to pick a topic and we want it to be something that like we're very passionate about, that we feel is like worth spending time, like building essentially like a shrine to. We also do solo shows, and sometimes that's just an artist will be working on like a solo show and it'll fit, and we'll be like, oh my God, we would love to like, build a space for that, market it, promote it, and everything like that. But for the group shows that we have this spring, it was just like, everything that we kind of like were like, oh, this would be something that would be something we would want to go to and something we'd want to see, and it sounds like it'd be really cool. Anything it just really to us sounds cool, I think we'll do it.
Yeah, so we usually like send the topic out to kind of the artists we've worked with in the past, and we always just kind of meet them through the other exhibits, through social media, and if they get our vibe, then like they'll be fun to work with, and so like we'll send that out, and then as we announce it, other artists will jump on and they'll start making things. We made you like a source image of like inspiration, like moments and stuff, and this was basically like a lot on like the selfies of like the night from last year at the Met Gala. So like we had a lot of fun with that. And then like we'll try and kind of decoupage an appropriate space for it. So like our last show was The Moon is a Planet, Darling, which was based on this Isaac Mizrahi on QVC clip where he gets in a fight with Sean Killinger about whether or not the moon's a planet or a star. So we had like everybody paint women who represent the moon to them. We have a giant Cher painting with a tiger. We had a giant Stevie Nicks and Barbarella and Shirley MacLaine.
And every inch of the exhibit when we build it out has references in it. So it's not like it's like we're just making a space and it's like, remember Mean Girls? Okay, bye. You know,
right.
Like every inch of the exhibit that we have, it has a reference to something, or at least like something that is like, something you could look at and read and like tells like a story or something.
Yeah, and so we covered the entire space with tinfoil for that, so you feel like in space. And then we covered that with tiles for this exhibit to make it a bathroom. So we just try to have as much fun as possible. Matt definitely does a lot of like the design for that, and I'm a very good helper. And I do a lot of like this, like social media stuff. And we just we're best friends. We have like so much fun together. So that's like the main draw for this is like that we get to do all this together. And then we'll like plan events around the theme. Like for this last one, we had a definitive guide to Met Gala looks. And we went like through like the history of the fashion. We also know this girl who is our resident spiritualist. So she'll try to do one every exhibit. Like she's done like the Housewives sun signs and like things like that. So it's been fun.
Mm-hmm. You know, when I was in New York, I went down, I took my first train to Brooklyn to come and see the museum, but unfortunately it was closed. And full disclosure, like my trip got pushed to August, so I'm going to miss this David's Dead exhibit, and I'm pissed because this is this is like tailor-made for like what I love and what it stands for, and just like I want to support it so badly. So the only thing I can do from here is just promote the hell out of it on this show. So talk about the origin of this exhibit, please.
Well, we have this is our third one for this season, spring, and it's the one we're most excited about. Tiffany Pollard is an icon of like many different ways. I feel like she's an icon for confidence. She's an icon for heartbreak. I think everybody who's listening to this or who's coming to the exhibit knows she was on Flavor of Love, and then she was on I Love New York for 2 seasons, and then New York Goes to Hollywood, New York Goes to Work, and then several other reality shows in the middle, especially one called The Next 15, which I don't know if you've ever seen, but if you haven't seen it,
I watched.
It's a crazy show. And she was so good on it. And right after The Next 15, she went on Celebrity Big Brother in the UK. And she was a house guest along with Gemma Collins, but also Angie Bowie, David Bowie's ex-wife, and David Guest, Liza Minnelli's ex-husband. And there was one moment during the show, because it was filmed in 2016, so they don't have access to anything except that the producers wanted to tell Angie Bowie that David Bowie had died. So they told her. Then she, right after getting this news, sees Tiffany and wants to tell somebody. She's like a human experiencing this loss. So she's like, Tiffany, sit down, I have to tell you. And she tells Tiffany, David's dead. And Tiffany thinks she means David Guest, who's also a house guest.
In the house.
In the house. So she was like, okay, what? Like, her mind is trying to like accept this, but also like she doesn't see any ambulances or hear any sirens. So I think she's like, what? What's going on? And she's in a different country. I just can't imagine that like level of like confusion. So she's eventually reaches forward, like, I'm not standing up for this. So she goes and she calls to find David Guest, and then all the other house guests join her and follow her across the courtyard, where they find him and he's asleep. He's like, I'm just sleeping, I'm fine. So then it turns, and now they're all like, well, why is Angie Bowie spreading rumors that David Guest is dead? So they have to figure this out. They march back across the courtyard, and then Angie Bowie explains, no, my ex-husband David Bowie. But this goes on for like 7 minutes, and everyone is like smoking and like trying to figure out what's going on. And it's the best moment of television.
That is the best description of that moment. Like, honestly, like I watched that as it happened. I didn't know because I watched that every episode. So I just turned it on like, okay, I'm going to watch tonight's episode. And I saw all that play out. And that is like the most accurate, messed up like 7 minutes of television. So I love that it exists and it's being memorialized in this museum, as it should. Have you heard from Tiffany? What did she had to say about that? Anything? Any feedback?
She posted on Instagram.
We have sent an email to her team, but I'm sure she's very busy. We don't expect an email back. We did get a phone call from Sister Patterson's assistant.
Wow.
And Sister Patterson may attend. We can't confirm as of yet. Who's to say? But we are in talks. We're very excited. And we will have some gorgeous art about Sister Patterson as well.
Oh, well, of course. That's an added bonus. I love that. Oh, you have no idea. I fought like hell at work to get there for the opening, but I just couldn't. I just can't get away, unfortunately, but I'll be there in spirit. So, what more can I say? Please, if you're in the New York tri-state area, make your way over to their museum and check it out. And what are the dates that they can see this exhibit?
May 18th will be our opening night gala, and we're selling tickets right now on our website, THNK1994.com. Limited space, it's only $20, and we have drinks and stuff, so it's well worth it. And then the next day, May 19th, we start our regular hours, which will be 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. Friday through Sunday, and it's going to run for 3 weekends through June 3rd. And then when you come, it's $10 or $6 for students. We do cash card and Venmo. It supports the museum, helps us do our next exhibit. And yeah, we're really excited to show you all the art and hopefully meet Sister Patterson. We don't know. But we'll take a lot of pictures no matter what. And we'll also have some other events that come up. So if you just check out our Insta and stuff, then you'll be able to keep track.
Yeah. And honestly, if you're a Housewives fan, you've more than likely heard of this museum because they're the same folks that had the Real Housewives Pointing Fingers exhibit, which was fantastic, which is all over Instagram. So
that was an amazing show. That was a show by Laura Collins. And we had the entire room filled with paintings, most of them sold. But we still have a few selections here. And yeah, it was just, you were very much pointed at. It was very
intense. All the big moments. Yes. Yeah. I loved that. Again, I wish I was closer. I'm experiencing all of this through the gram and from afar. It's killing me. But I want to hear, as we wrap this up, I want to hear about an upcoming podcast, Good for Her.
We are very excited about that. We're hopefully launching next week. You can also check that out on our website. We have a Facebook group, Good for Her, where you just share. I get all my news from there now, but you just share news what was a good one recently? Jennifer Garner wears a really cool scarf.
It's a great one.
Good for her, Yeah. And we just say good for her. Sometimes when things are a little crazy, we say cut it out.
Oh yeah, necessary.
And then sometimes it's like I don't know. It's oh, not my business.
If somebody's jumping in with something that is maybe if somebody would be like, why would you bring this up? Nobody wants to talk about this. Yeah. And instead of just saying that, it's just say, hey, that's not my business.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are our 3 modes.
So direct. 3 modes. I love it. I need to be a little more direct than this. I love that. So, well, that's great. Please support these guys. Check out their exhibit. Where can we find you on social media?
Our website is THNK1994.com. On Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, we're at THNK1994.
Thank you guys for doing the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. This was so fun.
I hope you had a good time.
It was so much fun.
Oh, good. Well, thank you guys again. And I want to give a shout out to Spencer Reed for subscribing to Grants Rants on Patreon. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. So I really appreciate it. Keep that going. There's bonus content over on patreon.com/Grants Rants. But in the meantime, I love you for listening and supporting this show. And my thanks to Matt and Viviana. Thanks again for coming on the Rants.
Thank you. Have a great day.
This has been Grants Rants. Support the Rants on Patreon. Follow us on Twitter @It's Grants Rants. Cover art created by Howie Ronay. Voiceover by Aw Yeah. Original theme music composed by Alexander Arntzen. The Grant Michael Collection.